We did it! Hi, I'm Shannon Stott, and this is
Emily Arnold Fleming.
Oh my gosh, y'all, Emily is in Austin, Texas, and that's where I am. And when you usually watch this show, because you watch it a lot, Emily is usually in
Richmond, Virginia.
Right.
Yeah.
And
today I got up early and I got on a plane and I came to Austin.
And I picked her up, and then we decided we would do the show, and we're doing it.
And here we are.
Here we are, like still doing this show. I'm a little like genuinely.
Yeah, we're generally a little thrown off and really excited.
Yeah.
So this will be a fun half hour of just recording us, possibly doing the show for real, and possibly just descending into catching up.
Right. So welcome to Improv On and Off the Topic. And the topic today, this is what we do.
Yeah.
Let's tell the people what we actually do. The topic for the year is community. Mm-hmm. And then the topic for the month is
response.
Absolutely. And we have a live show that we're actually going to do tomorrow and
Wednesday here in Austin. So if you are in Austin, come hang out with us. Literally, I flew from Richmond to hang out with us.
Right.
So you can drive down the street.
You can drive down the street and see us at the show. It's at the Vesper. Look at it. Just go to shannonstott.com. Just go and click on upcoming shows. But this is the thing. This is what we do. We are both improvisers. I'm an improviser, been an improviser for over 20 years and coming up on over 25, whatever. Yeah, I know, it's nuts. But the thing is that you're an improviser too.
Mm-hmm. 10 years, not quite as long,
right.
But a little bit of a baby.
No. But the exciting thing, it's all exciting. You're also a licensed, board certified behavioral analyst. Got it. First time, first try.
You did it.
Hey-o.
I am. I've actually been doing behavior the same length of time that I've been improvising.
Oh,
I started my first job in my field the same month that I joined my first improv troupe.
That's awesome.
So these things have been connected for me forever. I just it took kind of us finding each other to find the words.
Mm-hmm. And it's been amazing because since I have been doing improv, I have known that improv helps me live my life. Yeah. And then you and I started getting connected over the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Are we allowed to say that word, the porcupine? People don't say pandemic.
I listen to a show that calls it The Great Quar.
The Great Quar. Love it. We'll call it that. So during the Great Quar, we connected and we just started talking about how we're actually using improv in our lives day to day and how it's keeping us going through the Great Quar, right? Mm-hmm. And then we started talking about other people need to hear about how to do it. So fast forward, because we could talk about the history of this forever. Fast forward to now. Now we're actually doing that. We're having these conversations and it's been amazing.
It's been awesome. And I've been able to pull in a lot of my work, my professional studies and, what I do for my mortgage job into this, because there is so much research on how utilizing behavioral flexibility and acceptance and commitment and all of those beautiful things at work.
Right.
And that's what improv is.
Exactly. Acceptance and commitment and all of those things. And you watching right now are already doing improv on a day-to-day basis, but we're here, we bring Emily's expertise in so that we can prove it to you, right?
So let's talk about our topic.
Yes.
Welcome to the first Improv On and Off topic, where we spend the first 5 minutes talking about where this came from.
Right? We need to watch this first. Watch this one first. This is a big deal. So yes, our topic is response. Mm-hmm. And we were talking right before the show about let's talk about what's actually happening in response to that, and that which is us being together, right? And how we respond to things and how we respond to things in different circumstances. I'm gonna get it.
Situations,
circumstances. Whoa!
Oh, no! Our camera lost connection, but apparently we're still going.
We're still. I think people can probably still hear us.
Welcome to Improv On and Off the Topic, the podcast.
Look, we're doing great. Okay, this is. You know what? This is a gift. Yeah. So we were about to talk about response in certain circumstances. We were about to talk about how it's in different circumstances and situations, and how it's a different circumstance for us to be together. And we were going to dig deeper a little bit about what that's like, what's happening in our brains. And then this wonderful gift happened where our camera doesn't work.
Which changes the way that we respond. When Shannon and I sat down to record this together, Shannon reminded me to talk mostly to the camera instead of to her, which is a different context in which we normally have a conversation. And I am continuing to do that, even though the camera's off. So I've overgeneralized this behavior is what I'm saying.
I love it when you use like words. I overgeneralized this behavior, which means what?
Which means when you overgeneralize something, you tend to do a behavior in context that maybe is not the most appropriate or correct context for that behavior. It's like when you think about like when you're teaching a little kid language, right? And you're teaching them dog, to label dog. Every time you see dog, they're like dog, dog, dog. But then you go to the zoo and you see a zebra and he's like dog, because he's like, oh, things with four legs. So he's kind of overgeneralized the concept of dog to other things. I have overgeneralized the behavior of talking towards the camera.
That's, you know what, that because we're talking about both things, right? We're talking about the things that we do off the stage. We're talking about the things we do on the stage. When we are on stage and we're overgeneralizing things, right? This is okay. Let's talk about when people play women, or I'm usually right. I'm using air quotes if you can't see me, because you can't. But when people play women or people play men, right? There are certain things that happen when that is done sometimes that it feels like that's the same thing. That's overgeneralizing a behavior, right?
Yeah, and engaging in a behavior that maybe is not quite accurate, right? When you're playing an identity that's not your own, you do fall into that trap of playing it in a way that is not only not necessarily accurate, but can be harmful, right? We're back.
We did it.
So like doing that sort of thing could be harmful, right? If someone's playing a woman and all they're doing is like tossing their hair all day long, or like
talking in a high-pitched voice. We talk like this, all the women.
And most of us do not.
I don't talk like that.
And so yeah, we run that risk of kind of overthinking, like, oh, so this is correct too. I usually ask when I'm teaching, or when like I'm leading my team, to play humans that are closer to themselves.
Yeah, me too.
Or even if you get in doubt, or like your name is of a different gender, then that's fine, because we're all humans and we're not that different.
Right.
Still play yourself. You don't have to flip your hair.
I don't have to, I don't have to do this. Oh, I don't have to talk like this.
Yeah,
and walk around like this. I don't have to do that either. Right. And it's interesting because when you see that as a coach, an improv coach, when you see that happening on stage, and you give the player the opportunity to adjust, now we can take that behavior off stage, right? We can take the practice of, hey, or the awareness of, like, not all men talk like this, and not all women speak like this and flip their hair. So if that is true on stage, what else is true off stage.
Ooh, what a fun exploration. what a fun exploration into stereotyping and prejudices.
Boom!
Right?
Oh, we getting hot. Oh, you're moving to Austin.
We're gonna have talks like this every week.
All the time.
Buckle in.
But it's true, right?
Yeah.
You in that, when this idea that you're talking about, this response, this overgeneralization to a stimulus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so proud. This overgeneralization, when we're doing that, that's what you're talking about. We are overgeneralizing. We can be overgeneralizing genders and races, and how do we respond? How is it possible that we can use the techniques of improv to start to see people in a non-general way, in a specific way, as in individual ways?
Yeah. Was that a question?
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah. So we talked a lot about this last month. We dig through our files from last month. We talked about the self a lot. We talked about how when we build our characters, especially if we're building characters that are close to ourselves, we wind up exploring, but we still wind up exploring different perspectives a little bit, right?
Yes.
So even if you're performing as you are, maybe you have like when we make characters, we might have like one thing that's different about us, right? Maybe our vocal tone or a movement. I like to do very slow moving characters. I think are fun. But other than that, and then if you get endowed with someone who is of a different identity from you, you can still take in the like, and this person can still move in this way that is still very close to me, and is still like very unique, and maybe is not like any person that maybe your brain might have generalized to.
And
right?
I don't want you to hit your.
I'm okay. And so that gives us an opportunity to try on those different hats and try to explore those in a way that is safe.
Right. Because, okay, so we're talking about the topic being response when we are able to explore these things in a way that is safe. That is, take an improv class, explore the things in a way that's safe, in a way that's guided, right? When we get into that space, we can start, oh my goodness. If you're a boss, if you're a hiring manager, if you are I'm going to stick with that one, but if you are a hiring manager and you have the idea on stage, you're taking an improv class and you become aware of the fact that, oh, women don't talk like this, men don't talk like this, right? And what that looks like off stage, then when we see people come through our doors, we can respond in different ways to them, right? We don't have to respond the same way to everyone, or however it is that we have been responding to all women, or to all men of a certain type, or of a certain race, of a certain background. We can start to see, and this is where you were talking about being closer to home, right? We can start to see those people as closer to ourselves.
Yeah.
Come on.
And also, when we're doing scenes, right? You're not necessarily, when you're working with another person on stage, you're not responding to their character, you're responding within your relationship too. And it's not about like who they are as a person, but their relationship, or the stakes of the scene, like what's going on. It's not about them as a person, it's about where they fit in with you and in the context of what's going on.
Can we explore that a little bit? Because we don't we don't talk. We do talk a lot about improv, obviously, but you're talking about what I'm always talking about this. Like when we talk to players, what is important is the relationship. How is that person affecting you? How are they making you? Who are you to each other? Like, and why are you those things? And wow, I'm trying to think of, in that same off the stage thought, like if I'm a hiring manager and someone walks through my door, the relationship seems to be, I'm the boss and you're the employee, and bosses and employees, or bosses and potential employees, act like this. But if we can see that person if we can think about other relationships that we have and explore those types of relationships, even with this person who's sitting in front of you, that's an interesting.
Yeah. And I think also, because it's in a hiring manager situation, right? We don't do things with strangers for a reason, right?
Right. Absolutely.
But we can look at where they fit into the greater context of our organization.
Yes.
Right. Just like when we were working with a scene partner, again, it's not about their character, it's about your relationship and also their relationship to everything else. Where so when we're hiring someone, it's not about like who they are as a person, but like but their skill set. Like how does what they can contribute
fit into what the needs of the company are?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can take that and put it right back on stage, right? How does we talk about ogres all the time. I don't know why, because they come up, but how does the ogre, like that ogre, how does what that ogre has to offer fit into the context of the scene? Not necessarily just because there's an ogre, all of these, there's also a castle and a princess. Those can be fine, sure.
Right.
But what we're really interested in is that ogre in love with the princess? And is that princess in love with the ogre? Right? And what is that relation? And why? Is it because they were friends in high school? Like,
and the joy of doing that in an improv context is that it's fun to explore all of those angles. Even if, say, if this was, we had multiple people in this ogre scene, and we have someone who is antagonistic towards the ogre, right? Like a monster hunter. If you are an improviser and you're playing a monster hunter and an ogre, it doesn't, like, you're still, as an improviser, respecting the person who's playing that ogre and like what they're doing and what they want and what they need, right? In a similar way, even if you're in a boss employee kind of situation, like, yes, on the surface you have a boss employee situation, but the human inside of you can still take a look at the human inside of them in order to fulfill your full story of whatever your organization is, right? Just like we're building the full story on stage.
That is good. It's good, Emily Arnold Fleming. That's good. It's good because now I'm responding to a lot of like different episodes that we've had. Because we've talked about the self. We've also talked about maybe we were talking about the self in response to community, like who we are in different situations, right? And it is easy to fall into the trap. We're just going to keep on this like boss employee sort of situation. It's easy to fall into the trap, even on the other side as the employee, right? It's easy to fall into the trap of like, oh, the employee acts like this, the boss acts like that. But how does Shannon act? Right? How does Shannon respond to this situation? How does Emily respond to this situation?
I bet it's different.
And it's so interesting because I think that there is, if we dig a little deeper even, there is a fear that one might lose face or lose a hold or lose something when you connect with the human part of you instead of connecting with the facade. It's not a facade, but the character part of you. Yeah. It feels like it feels vulnerable is what it feels.
Especially in a work context, right? Like where capitalism doesn't always have your best interest in mind. But your boss is a human being and your coworkers are human beings, right? But it is scary. And especially if you have, part of the reason why we would all respond differently, right, is because we all have different learning histories.
Okay.
My past is different than your past, right?
Right.
The associations that I've made with different stimuli are different than what you had. The experiences I've had are different than you've had. Some people might have had more negative experiences at work where it's like, we need to build like an emotional wall and I'm just coming in, I'm just doing my job, I'm just cleaning this counter, and then I'm going home, clocking out. And that makes it harder, I think, to connect, to let down that wall and connect, especially if in the past, when you did, you got burned, right? But some people have maybe like, I've usually worked at pretty like chill small businesses where, yeah, I do get to know my bosses pretty well. And, you know, maybe we do grab a beer after work. And those have usually, and when I've moved on, they've been super excited for me. And so I have a different learning history than maybe someone else. So my ability to kind of like drop my guard and see other people is different than other people's. And that's okay.
It is okay. It's okay. And, you know, this is our job, friends. So sorry, but that's what taking an improv class is for, right? It is, right? Because it's not just, we do play these games and the games are fun, whatever, but it's not just about playing those games. It's about learning. Because my question to you was, was going to be and is now, how do you take that information in, knowing that you might have a different learning history than I have, knowing that, how does that help me respond to whatever it is that you're throwing at me? How do we do that on stage? How do we do that on stage? I asked you, but I have an answer.
Okay,
good. So but I need you, but follow me because I need you to do it. I need you to take it off stage. I don't have an answer for the off stage part. So on stage, we play games like replay, right? On stage, we play games. That's why those games are important for learning purposes. Yes, they're fun. It's funny. Oh, okay. Well, now do that scene in space. Now do that scene in Shakespeare. Now do that scene as a romantic comedy. Now do that scene, right? Because we start to practice what is the perspective of these different characters. I said, I love you in Shakespeare, and now I have to say it in sci-fi. And what is the different, if I'm doing it as Data, right? And now I'm doing it as Romeo. What are those different perspectives? So that's why we play those types of games, to give us perspective. But now, maybe I've played that game, right? I have all my perspectives, Emily.
Right. Yeah, check that off your list. You're done. You've had every perspective under the universe.
Everyone.
That's entirely possible.
It's finished.
Yeah.
I'm done. Now I walk out of the improv doors and I'm in the world. How do I use those teachings in the world?
So what we then wind up doing is recognizing a few different things. One of those things is that, hey, guess what? You just did a whole bunch of different behaviors in a context that was cool and low stakes. And like, you probably got the reinforcement of either a laughter, or your team was stoked for you, or your like improv teacher told you that you're brilliant. Like one of those things happened, right? And so now you have those behaviors kind of strengthened within you to generalize, not overgeneralize, but like regular level generalize.
Got it.
Off the stage. And then also you get this practice with recognizing that there is flexibility in responding, right? And that not everyone does things the same, which automatically makes you a little bit more empathetic.
Yes.
Because you know, right? Because you've seen it and you've tried it on this hat. Like, oh, you know, it is harder for someone who thinks in this way to say I love you versus someone who, you know, has pined for romance all their life.
To say I love you.
Exactly. Right. And so you gain a little bit of understanding about your fellow humans.
It's interesting. This is good. You said the thing. You said something.
Regular generalized.
Regular generalized, but also in different contexts. So that's what we're talking about, right? Like responding in different contexts. You've got this game. I'm responding as Data. Now I'm responding as Romeo. Now I'm responding as Ogre. Now I'm responding as whatever it is. And there was something else you said. Oh, we have this flexibility now, right? We have this flexibility to understand, oh, this person, and now I'm going back to that boss employee thing. Janice, the employee, is responding to me this way. It's putting in me an annoyance. I'm annoyed. I'm responding in my heart. I'm feeling like anger. Okay. But if I can remember, Janice, the employee, is also Janice, the mother, Janice, the aunt, Janice, the person who is short, Janice, the person who rides the bus to work, Janice, the whatever. If I can remember 3 or 4 different things about Janice and whatever it is they're saying to me, maybe I can be flexible in how I respond to Janice.
Yeah, especially if you've had that practice with putting on a perspective of like putting on a perspective, say like being a mother who has like a bunch of kids and you're late to work because you had to get them all to school, right? You were just there in that brain space last Thursday. And now you can be like, oh, I remember that was hard. That's hard for people. You have that little bit of perspective taking and empathy, which is so important for us as humans. Like there's a reason that we as human beings are capable of perspective taking. It's so that we can show empathy to our fellow humans and build a community that functions without us all being antagonistic and self-focused.
Yeah. Because we can't, I mean, this is old brain, right? Like Neanderthal brain, I guess. Like we can't take care of our children. We can't feed ourselves. We can't feed our family. It is difficult to do these things by yourself, right? You need community to do those things. And because you need community to do those things, you need to understand that Sally Neanderthal, their cave is leaky. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
I feel like I am.
Yeah, Sally Neanderthal's cave is leaky. You gotta put some moss in that hole.
And then, right, put the moss in that. Help Sally's cave, y'all.
Yeah. Help Sally with her cave.
Help Sally with her cave. It is the perspective taking, the response part is really interesting to me, because even just now in talking about like switching the sides, switching roles, like, yes, you can be the boss, you can also be the employee, and both people have to be, or it is helpful if both people are empathetic towards the other. It doesn't go, response and empathy doesn't go just one way. And I wonder when you are working, because you are, right, when you're doing the work as a behavioral analyst, you are training people to be empathetic and to respond to their clients in a certain way. How do you like bridge that gap, or how do you respond or talk about what the client might be feeling or responding to?
Sometimes when I teach, a lot of what I do is also teach behavioral theory, and at the same time that I'm training people on clients. And I like to use common examples, right? Like, so many of the clients that I work with have, communication skills that are different than ours, right? And for some of them, it could just be looking at something, pointing at something, pulling someone along. And so they're not able to communicate as effectively to everyone as maybe we are. And so I have to kind of break it down for some people to be like, okay, so this person, he really likes, he's used to getting to watching the Magic School Bus every Tuesday at 2:00. It is Tuesday at 1:50. Probably the reason that he's pulling you is because of that. And then what I would do is I would make it analogous to our lives, right? So like if we, at every Friday at 7, we sit down with our family to watch The Great on Hulu, something similarly, then that draws a comparison. They're like, oh, I've had that experience before. It's similar to this experience. Because empathy is something that kind of comes with growing up as humans. I don't have to necessarily teach empathy, right? Which is very good to my staff usually, right? I just kind of have to show them, like, remember this thing that you do? They do the similar thing, and they can be like, oh. Oh yeah.
We all do
Oh yeah,
that
if I
thing.
was late to something, I would also be like pulling on my kids and be like, "Come on, we gotta go, we
Mhm.
gotta move."
Mhm.
And so like, oh yeah, similar, same thing. Yeah.
It's interesting. We forget. It's like driving, and you're like, right? It's like you immediately forget. Like you've been late, you've been worried, you've been rushed, you've been sad, you've been distracted, you've been these things. But as soon as someone else is that thing, you respond as if they, which is interesting. I'm sorry, it's our 30 minutes is up, so we can't get into this too much. But you respond as if it is they are attacking you personally.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I want to say, what is that about, Emily? But we don't
have time.
We don't have time.
Next time.
Next time, maybe, because next month,
who knows?
Who knows what
our topic is.
What our topic is. You can tell us. You can help us if you'd like. If you're watching this right now, you can put in the chat. This month has been all about response within community. Last month, it was all about the self within community.
Before that was safety.
Within community. And we've been talking about these topics and getting to know how to deal with it on and
off the stage.
That's right, because this is on and off the stage. This is the company I run, So if you want to know, if you want to be involved in choosing the topic, just put it in the comment or say, hey, Shannon, on Facebook or Instagram, this is the topic I want to know about. And we might choose it. For now, look, we have things. We have a thing. It looks like this. Go right there. Go support us at Patreon. Go see our show, shannonstott.com. It doesn't matter where in the world you are, you can see our show. It's virtual and live.
Mm-hmm.
So you can come and see it. It is tomorrow, Tuesday, the 29th and the 30th. Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yep.
Here we go.
29th and 30th.
Of March at the Vesper.
At the Vesper, if you're local.
In Austin.
At the internet, if you are not local.
If you go to shannonstott.com, look at it. It's right here, shannonstott.com.
And even the virtual has interactive components, right?
Absolutely. So if you would like to join the show, it's not just watch the show, join the show. Mm-hmm. We've got, Emily's going to be there. I'm going to be there. We've got a drama therapist. Luke Wallens is going to be there. Aaron Sines is going to be there. We've got a full band. Girl, we got a band. Why aren't you why are you still watching this? Go get a ticket.
Go.
Oh my God. All right, friends. This has been us. We are Emily Arnold Fleming
and Shannon Stott.
And we'll see you later on and
off the stage.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, we're gonna say bye. We're gonna say bye. Thank you.